guys, on this installment of PJ Cooks Sexy Food, we're going to take some nice summer vegetables, we're going to stuff them with cheese and breads and grains and other veggies. It's going to be absolutely delicious. So let's get started.
Okay, so the stuffing for our fresh vegetables that we're going to use today, we're going to start off with half a cup of farro. That's that ancient grain. I have a pearled farro, so this way it's a quick cook. It should only take about 10 minutes. I have 3 cups of chicken stock. I have about 2.5 to 3 cups of bread cubes, a cup of shredded pecorino romano cheese. You don't have to use pecorino if you want to use Parmesan, Montasio, Asiago. You can use whatever cheese that you prefer. I have 1 egg, a couple of sprigs of thyme, a couple of bay leaves. I have 3 cloves of garlic that I sliced, as well as 3 cloves of garlic that I've just given a light crush with the paper still on. I have a sprig of rosemary. I have some diced shallot, some coarsely chopped onion, carrot, and celery, as well as some parsley and some green onion. And these are all the ingredients for the stuffing. So let's get started with the vegetables that we're going to stuff today. We have some beautiful farm fresh zucchini, some globe squashes. We have both yellow and green, some nice beefsteak tomatoes that I got from Perez Farm in upstate New York. I want to thank them for providing me with such beautiful produce today that we're going to use for this recipe. So the first thing I want to do is I want to bring a saucepan over and I want to pop in my 3 cloves of garlic, my green onion, my bay leaves, maybe a couple of sprigs of that thyme, a little bit of rosemary into it. I'm going to take about a cup and a half of our stock. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, I'm going to add in our farro. Okay, so our stock has just come up to a boil. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and add in the farro. A couple of sprigs of fresh parsley on top. Give it a little stir. Just like that. Clamp on the lid and let this simmer on a medium-low heat just until the farro becomes tender. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a large saucepan, give it a couple of glugs of nice extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to get this over medium heat just until the oil starts to shimmer. While we're waiting on our oil to start heating up, I'm going to start focusing on our vegetables. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our squash right here. I'm just going to cut the top off, just about like that. Now, going in with a sharp spoon or a melon baller, I'm going to go in and I'm going to start scooping out the center of our squash. So this way we can create the cavity that we're going to fill later. We don't want to make the wall of this squash too thin, but we want it thin so it'll get tender at a reasonable speed. And we want to make sure any of those areas that have a lot of seeds in it are taken out, because what that'll do, that'll just make our dish watery on the inside. I went ahead and I cored that one. I still have my little top. I'll set that off to the side. This can be used for stock, it can be used for other things. We're not going to use it for any application today, so I'm just going to push this off to the side. I'm going to keep coring up some more of these vegetables. I'm going to focus on these nice zucchini that we have here. I'm going to lay it flat. I'm leaving the stem part on. I'm going to simply cut this squash right down the middle, just like that. Have 2 even pieces. I'm going to take our little spoon. I'm going to go in and I'm going to core out the center of the zucchini. Because once again, we're creating a cavity that we're going to stuff. If your little spoon is too big, go ahead and get a smaller one. If you don't want to use a spoon, you could do it with a paring knife and core it out that way. But that's how you'll core out the zucchini. So now we'll turn our focus to our tomatoes. Using a paring knife, I'm going to go in from the top on about a 45-degree angle, and I'm just going to cut all the way around, just like that, till we can get the core out. We pop that out just like that. Grabbing our tablespoon, we're going to go ahead We're going to go in, and we are going to scoop out the center of the tomato. I'm going to drain out all the juice, just like that. Now we have a nice cored out tomato that we're going to stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and do all the rest of these vegetables. Our farro is cooking, our oil is heating, and we're going to be ready to start cooking some good food in just a few moments. So our oil is in a nice shimmer. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in all our aromatic vegetables. That's the carrots, the celery, the onion, the shallot. Give it a little shot of salt. And a couple of grinds of black pepper. Okay, we're going to keep that on medium heat just until they start to soften a little bit. So what I've done here is I took the leaves of thyme off the stems, I stripped the needles of rosemary off its stem, I took the parsley from its stems, and I just gave it a coarse chop. So we have a nice bit of herbs right here, all nicely chopped. I'm going to throw these into a bowl with our bread cubes. Okay, so our bread cubes and our herbs are combined. We're going to leave this off on the side while we still wait for the rest of our vegetables and our farro to cook. So our vegetables are starting to soften now. I'm going to add in my garlic. I'm going to just saute that around just until it starts to become fragrant. Beautiful. What I'm going to do next, what I'm going to add is when I cored out those tomatoes, I squeezed out the seeds from everything I took out of the middle, and I have some beautiful tomato pulp here. I'm going to add that into our vegetables. I'm going to keep this on that medium-low heat and just keep cooking it until these vegetables are really nice and soft. Our vegetables are softening, our farro is still cooking. I'm going to go ahead and whisk up that one egg. See, a little piece of shell fell into the egg when I cracked it just now? What you do is you don't go in there fishing with your hand. Use the piece of shell. The shell gets attracted to the shell, so you can easily get it out. I'm just going to whisk this up. I'm going to place this on the side until we're ready to assemble our stuffing. Okay, now with a bowl, with my sieve, I'm going to bring over our cooked farro. I want to drain the farro, scrape everything out of the bowl, out of the pot. I'm going to let that drain. But what I also want to do is I want to fish out any of the herbs that we had in here. So I'm going to go for the bay leaves, the parsley, the thyme, the green onions. I'm going to pull all that out, toss that on the side, because that's done its part. We don't need that anymore. Almost got them all out there. There's a little bit more to go. You can see a few more twigs here and there. Now, as for these garlic cloves, I'm going to pull them out, put them off on the side for a moment. Give it a toss, see what else is in there. There we go. Okay. So our farro is done. We're going to leave that off on the side to cool down. Now, taking that broth that the farro cooked in, that is a very starch-laden broth, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add that to our vegetables that have been sauteing. Just like that. Those cloves of garlic that the farro were cooking in, I'm just going to peel the papers off and I'm going to throw those right in. You see how soft and creamy they are right now? That's just going to add more flavor to this dish. Now the reason why I wanted to use that broth that was left over from the farro, that broth is full of herb flavor. Remember, that cooked with the green onion, the bay leaves, the thyme, the rosemary, and those garlic cloves. So I'm going to just go ahead, give this a good stir. Does that look good? I think it looks good, so that's all that matters. Gonna take the farro, introduce it to the vegetables and the broth that we have here now. see what a beautiful stuffing this is going to be once it's all completed. Bring over our bowl with our breadcrumb and our fresh herbs. I'm going to go ahead and add in the farro, the sauteed vegetables, the stock, the herbs, everything into one nice big bowl. Give this a nice toss. Just like this. Now, let's go ahead, add in our egg. Toss that egg in well. We don't want it to sit too long. This is still a little warm. We don't want to make scrambled eggs in our stuffing. Grabbing our pecorino cheese, I'm going to add about 2/3 of that right into the stuffing. I'm going to reserve the other third to put on top of our vegetables before they go in the oven. Okay, so I have my vegetables out and ready. I'm just going to give it a little pinch of salt just to season the inside. A little grinded pepper right over the top and on the middle. Now we stuff. Using a teaspoon, I'm just going to go ahead, pull our vegetables up. I'm just going to stuff them. We're not going to pack this in. We just want to make sure that it's got a good amount of stuffing all throughout. And we can mound this up a little bit. We could always add more after we stuff everything. But for now, that looks good. I'm going to put that onto a baking sheet. I'm going to keep stuffing all of my vegetables. Now, as I used here, I used chicken stock. If you want to use vegetable stock and make this a vegetarian dish, you most certainly can. You can do whatever you want to make this yours. If you have some nice baby eggplant, that would be delicious to stuff as well. Right now, eggplant's not in season where I am, so I'm not using it. But I was just putting it out there. But as whatever vegetables are in season, go ahead and use them. So I'm going to finish stuffing these, and I'll show you what they look like in just a moment. So you can see our vegetables are beautifully stuffed. Now I'm going to take some of that last bit of chicken stock that I had. I'm going to pour that into the bottom of my pan, just to give it a little steam while they're roasting. Just a little bit all around the vegetables. I'm not putting any on the vegetables. Drizzle of olive oil on the top of each one, right over the stuffing. Just like that. And the finishing touch, a little bit more of that cheese that we had reserved on top of each vegetable. Look at how beautiful this looks. This looks beautiful now. Wait until it's finished. I can't wait to dig into these. And you can put as much cheese on it as you want. You can put as little as you want. You don't have to use cheese at all if you don't want cheese, if you're a vegan. If you don't have farro like I used here, you could use couscous. You could use any type of grains that you like. Any pastas. It's a wonderfully delicious dish. It's great for the summer with all these summer fresh vegetables. You could do it in the winter with like butternut squash, acorn squash, and stuff it the same way. So I'm going to go ahead, pop this into our oven just until the vegetables are nice and soft on the outside. So our vegetables have been in the oven for 45 minutes. Halfway through, I covered them with foil just so they would finish cooking. You can see how beautiful they look, how the cheese on tops have gotten golden brown. You can see how soft and tender the vegetables are. The tomatoes, the zucchini, when I put the knife through, it just goes right through to the bottom. This dish is totally complete. You can make this for a lunch. You can make this as a side dish for a dinner. This is a great vegetarian option, vegan option if you change out that stock. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I hope you tried it at home. Thank you for tuning in to PJ Cooks Sexy Food. We'll see you next time.